Hey friends, Pastor Vlad here. I want to talk to you
What voice am I hearing?
a lot of attention right now.
Calm down. Okay, we're live now. We are live. So Esther, please just help us make sure that those that are meant to be here are joining us live on YouTube. Then what am I missing? Switch my screen and get back to you. There's a slight delay anyway on YouTube. That's still fine. Doesn't bother me. Okay. Okay, hi, Promise. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Madam good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Everyone.
Yeah, did you say something? I didn't hear that. Okay,
I
no
say
problem.
good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening. Yes, nice to have you. Welcome. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Yeah, so let's get started anyway. So we will spend the shortest time possible and get maximum experience, right? So here I am. My name is Francis Aborigo, the founder of Shimej, Shimej Women Empowerment Foundation. Yeah, our goal is to empower as many women, especially young mothers who had to stop work basically because of significant life experiences, marriage, childbirth, or migration. Yeah, the jackpot thing. So our goal is to make sure that every woman is empowered to be able to get back to work, supposing she had to stop work or transition to tech and remote jobs. But this month of September, we're focusing on the subject creative economy, the age of creative economy, where we are going to discuss about how you don't necessarily have to stop your work, whatever you're doing, how you don't necessarily have to change your entire career path. You can still stay where you are and bring what you're already doing into the ecosystem. You might bring in agriculture, you might bring in craft making, you can bring in fashion into the tech industry, just bring in innovation. So we want to debunk the myth that everybody has to be in tech to thrive in this age. No, it's not true. There's something about your your experience, there's something about your knowledge, there's something about your superpower that you can monetize and turn to a career for yourself. All you need to do is to understand that there's an empowerment going on. So if you follow our previous videos, our previous webinars, and also our previous content on our social media platforms, you understand that you stand a chance to thrive at any point you are in your career, okay? So, and also your dreams, yes, are valid, okay? So thank you, people. While we are about to welcome our guest for today, who is Theodora Isola, I also want to let you understand that we're going to be talking on the topic of gender nuances. So what happens in the workplace? What happens in your career? How do you handle the subject matter, women and gender differences, equity, equality, inclusion, everything about that subject, or how you can manage your team. So sometimes you might have unique team situations based on experiences. So for instance, there was a lockdown some time ago, okay? And it affected work and the system of work that period of time. But if you were in the middle of a project at that particular time and suddenly there's a lockdown, everybody's not coming out, how do you continue? You know, team management, how do you communicate with your team? You come up with a new idea or you discover something you want to implement and you're working with a team. How do you make those changes? Okay. So there is no better person to ask than a product manager, someone that has worked with different teams from different sectors, health, other different tech fields. Okay. She has done quite a lot of projects. She has launched some products and also helped to set up some other platforms. So please, I want you to jam your hands together, send in your beautiful emojis as we welcome our speaker for today, Theodora. Thank you for accepting to join us tonight. Yeah, thank you, people. So if you're joining us from YouTube, please go ahead and do the same. We're happy to have her live with us. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited that I get to do this. I'll start sharing my screen, then we will kick off the conversation. Okay, so please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen. A very beautiful one.
Awesome, thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so the topic, gender nuances, employee and team management as a creative founder. I like to start by defining the term gender nuances. I don't like big words. So I think I want to just break this down and then we kick off the conversation from there. So when we say gender nuances, we are saying that these are subtle differences, expectations, assumptions, that in the workplace will typically be attached to either men or women. So it's like you're saying, oh, women, this is how women lead. This is how men lead. This is how women communicate. This is how men communicate. This is how men make decisions. So in simple terms, these are unspoken rules that people apply. Unspoken rules that people apply. For example, we expect women leaders to be warm yet authoritative. We assume men are natural decision makers, why women are um um they are required to prove their competence. Then there's also the case of judging the same action differently depending whether it's a man that did it or a woman that did it. Okay, so our conversation tonight will just talk about where you are an employee or in managing teams, how do you navigate all of this? How do you navigate all of this? And I like to take it from the leadership point of view. Because the purpose of getting into the workplace should be much more than I'm just going to make money. So stepping into okay, I start with this quote. Leadership in the creative economy is not your regular conversation. So the moment you step into the role of a founder or a leader, the game changes. So when you step into a role as a leader, especially in the creative economy, things become different. It's really no longer, I just want to work. It becomes, how can I, just manage the way culture is happening or is being perceived? How can I lead people? How can I really support women, especially as a woman? Now, as a leader, as a woman, there are just biases that we come across, just the way I've explained what gender nuances are. And what we do influence how the team respond. So my first leadership shift for me is like, leadership isn't just about doing tasks, not just about, oh, okay, I get to work, I get these tasks done. It became more of every decision that I make while working, while navigating, team management, while leading a team, it becomes, what do I really represent? Every team moment became a balance of, am I truly showing up as my authentic self? Or am I just, showing authority because I've been able to achieve what I think I have. So really, like I said, if you're looking to lead, which every woman should look into, because it's really not just about our things are going bad. How can I lead in such a way that it sets culture, it sets a tone, it sets a pace for others to follow? Okay, so we can see leadership here to be balancing vision, people, and biases. So we're moving from this is how women are perceived at the office to actually helping balance vision, people, and biases. Now, when we talk about gender nuances in creative leadership, women leaders are often judged not only on competence, but also how they lead. So for us, we have to find a balance for leadership as well as, expression. So the question I have for you here is, what do you think is harder as a leader, being authentic or being authoritative? Which do you think is harder as a leader, being authentic or being authoritative? It would be nice if I can see response in the chat. So I'm going to share my experience building teams. At Tiva Creative, what we're looking at is building products and digital solutions across industries. What that really means is we have to work with people across, different industries. I am actively working with a healthcare team, an education, ed tech team. I'm also working in e-commerce. So all of that is how I'm continually thinking, how do I manage, these products across different sectors, this product across, working with different teams? How do I manage that? Also, something I'm very passionate about is training and coaching. And I do that with working with women, youth, and executive. So this is me sharing my own building team experience, the experience I've had building teams. Oh, I can tell you it's been challenging. From having that thought every time to say, should I really be, building this company, or should I just go and find a job? Okay. Now, in dealing with amazing men that I get to work with, I say amazing because why they challenge you to do better, they also get you to keep proving yourself. So it feels like every time you are proving yourself. You're proving yourself to say that, oh, I can do this. I remember, trying to close a client. And, the man was like, I mean, it sent me to another office staff. But I realized that for me to actually get this deal closed faster, I need to engage with this man. And he goes on to say, if I give you my number, I hope you will not be disturbing me. I said, sir, I am very busy. I am so busy that I have to put in my calendar that I'm going to reach you. Okay, so this is something that, you get to experience You get to experience when you choose, all right, that you are going to, you know, do something about the gender nuances. Okay. It's something that you get to face, but not just face it, but do something about it. I could have just said, "Oh no, sir, no, 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 I'm not like that. No, I will not call you unnecessarily." No, I had to let him know that, this is the reason. I am strictly business, okay, at this point, and you need to understand that. So it's usually said that um in the creative industry, where ideas are currency, you cannot negotiate, taking risk with fear of judgment. I'll say that again. In the creative industry, where ideas are currency, you cannot negotiate taking risk without fear of judgment. So you would not say that, oh, because of these gender nuances, let me just stay in my little corner. Let me just chill. Well, they'll still think I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't even know what I'm doing. So stepping up as a leader, you begin to see yourself as, I want to set the culture deliberately, instead of inheriting what our mothers went through, what other generations went through. What is the norm? Setting culture deliberately. Okay, so for me, I've learned that avoiding difficult conversation leads to tension. It does lead to tension. When you avoid difficult conversation, it leads to tension. So have those difficult conversations. So one of my mentors, he was even having a conversation with my daughter, and she's like, I don't want to talk about it. And he says, hey, you need to learn how to have difficult conversation. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Learn to have it. Have those difficult, the kind of conversation that your heart will be beating fast. The kind of decision that if sometimes you're even finding a way to breathe. When you practice having such conversations, you get used to it. But if you continue to avoid it, oh, you're not going to be moving. So what do? We reframe them as opportunities to turn trust, okay? Or rather, we reframe them as opportunities to turn conflict into trust. So instead of, it turning in such a way that it becomes, an argument, or it gets them back to say, yeah, we know now she's a woman. You give them hope because you're turning it into something even better. So the 4 codes you can, you can leverage on is see gender dynamics as a competitive advantage. See gender dynamics as a competitive advantage. See that, okay, because I'm a woman, I have the opportunity to use my softness to get people to do the right thing. Build psychological safety to unlock innovation. Building psychological safety, it takes practice. It takes practice. So one of I would say the psychological safety I personally have had to build is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, being able to, manage my own emotions. And that way, I'm in a state of mind where I can think creatively. Next, navigating culture plus generation, you need to see it as setting the culture first. Setting culture first. What is culture? The way that people do things. And how can you do that? You're part of a community right now. Okay, so is there something that you can begin to share in the community that even helps to set a culture? Set the culture first instead of just saying, "Oh, well, this is life. This is Nigeria. This is Africa. This is the way it is. This is the way our mothers did it." And of course, number 4, not the least, transform difficult conversation into stronger trust. Transform difficult conversation into so every day actually look for it to say, hey, did I have a difficult conversation today? How did it go? Okay, what would I do better? So that when you are faced with such a difficult conversation next time, you exactly know what to do. So let's talk about the ask shift. So this is something that I like a lot. The ask framework. I like it a lot. So I started using this ask when I joined a consulting company just after I graduated from university. That was 2010. And every time it became something that we did. Every time we're carrying out a facilitation session, we say that this training is going to help you improve your attitude, build skill, and gain knowledge. Okay, so the ask framework. So to navigate gender nuances and lead effectively, what do you need to do? Improve your attitude. Okay, and your attitude should move from proving yourself to owning your presence. Leadership is presence. It's not role play. Leadership is presence. So how do I show up? So get this. Let it be from proving yourself to owning your presence. So how do I show up? How do I show up in the things that I need to show up in? Then the next skill, move from simply managing tasks to mastering communication and conflict navigation. So something as simple as I am not able to show up and then I turn off my phone because I don't want to, I just want them to think of something by themselves. So move from simply just managing tasks to mastering communication and conflict navigation. And of course, for knowledge, move from knowing the work alone to knowing your people and their context. This is difficult. I will not lie to you. So know your people and your industry deeply. I made a post on LinkedIn recently and I said that we're actually moving from, just surface knowledge to domain knowledge, having domain knowledge. And as I talk to product managers, I tell them that why it feels like you can work in every industry. There's going to come a time where you need that depth, you need domain depth in your career. So, how do you do that? What I suggest, what I recommend is take a look at your foundation. What have you built your foundation on in the past years? Leverage on that. So don't always say that I'm starting all over. You've gained knowledge over time. You've gained skills. Okay. Yes, maybe the environment has formed an attitude for you. You can take a look at that and decide, do I want to leverage on this or am I okay to start all over? You should be able to make that decision. So once you make that decision, you see that you begin to improve, you begin to move. Okay. You begin to improve, you begin to move. I can't really see the chat, so I hope that there are questions. Please put down questions in the chat so that once I'm done with this first presentation, we can engage. I will appreciate that. So let's talk about some practical tools. I'm a hands-on person. I'm quite hands-on. So I always look for, so what can I do? Like, how can we get hands-on? Okay. Now, so first, I'll start with, say, naming the bias. Okay. And here we're looking at gender advantage. Gender advantage. So what we need to do here is address unspoken dynamics instead of ignoring them. So I would advise that you take a book and maybe write a story where assumptions about you become leverage. Where assumptions about you become a leverage. I think I'm trying to think of maybe one of my experience to share here, which I believe will help. So when I think there was a time where I had this experience. Someone reached out to me like, what exactly are you doing now? What exactly are you doing now? And at that point, I'm like, wait, you've known me and you just think that, okay, I should be doing something else by now. Okay. I wanted to get off, but I saw it as a leverage to maybe to really establish myself and what I do with that person. And interestingly, that helps because that person has recommended me for projects, has recommended me for projects. So it would have gone two ways. I could have said, but you know me, how come you don't know what I do? But then I saw it as an opportunity, or it became leverage for me to just break down exactly what I do again at that time. Okay, so what is a story where assumptions about you can become leverage? So the assumption I believe he had about me was that, maybe she's doing something else by now. Okay, maybe she's doing something else by now, especially when you are not always in their radar. All right. So what is that story where assumptions about you can become leverage? So that's the first tool that we're looking at. For the second, let's talk about building psychological safety. Psychological safety, create a space to take risk and to voice ideas. Okay? Create a space to take risk and to innovate. If you are the one creating that space, then you understand that, okay, I've created this space. But if you allow it, if you don't create that space for yourself, you are forced to just get into the space that has been created. So the third one we'll look at is navigating differences. Navigating differences. So how do you navigate differences? Just be intentional. Be intentional. All right? Establish values, practices that reflect your leadership style. Do not inherit culture, set it. We've talked about this before. It sounds like, okay, so how exactly do I set a culture? How is that? It takes practice. It takes you saying that, okay, what's this bias? What's this gender nuances that I'm experiencing even at my workplace, even with my team? It's now for you to set it right instead of ignoring it. So let's talk about questions we rarely ask. Questions that we rarely ask. So, question for you: how do I lead when I do not look like a leader? How do I lead when I do not look like a leader? How do I lead when I do not look like a leader? Now, the goal of this question is for you to ponder on it, not for me to answer it for you. Okay, because a lot of times we maybe we mostly see leadership as, oh, it's a man thing, or I don't really have what it takes. I'm so busy right now, I cannot even, I don't look like it. I don't think I have enough experiences for it. Okay. So when you can settle all of those questions, even all of those personal biases, then you can begin to step up to take leadership. Next question: how do I deal with bias without being consumed by it? How do I deal with bias without being consumed by it? And then the third question: what if my vision clashes with my team's comfort zone? What if my visions clashes with my team comfort? So these are questions that we not only hear them, but we begin to look at ways to answer these questions. To answer this question in such a way that it gets us to step up. It gets us to take on leadership. Take on leadership and do better. Okay? So, is there anyone who wants to respond to any of these questions? I think after this presentation, I'm going to ask maybe one or two persons to share, or you can just share it in the community, or reach out and discuss it. These are conversations that we need to be having. All right. So to just throw some light on each of these questions, remember, leadership is really not about fitting an image. It's about, you owning the room with clarity, owning the room, ensuring that you are clear, ensuring that you come correct, that's the way we say it. Not in a way that shows pride, in a way that shows that, you have done your homework. In a way that it shows that you've done your own work. So you see that, first of all, it takes you, owning the space, telling yourself that, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So really, you do not need to look like a leader. You just need to come correct. You need to be clear. You need to live like you have vision. So the next question: how do I deal with bias without being consumed by it? Know that bias is real, but do not allow it define you. Okay? Name it and then deal with it. Name it and deal with it. It's something that I know that I had to even do with managing my emotions. a period in my life where I felt a lot of negative emotions. So I did not just ignore them to say, I'm a woman of faith, and you say, I reject it in Jesus' name and all of that. No, I didn't just leave it there. So what I did was I name it first. So once I name it, I learn how to deal with it. So that's the process to go. So know that bias is background noise. Don't spend your time and energy trying to silence it. Just outgrow it. And the third one, what if my vision clashes with my team's comfort zone? What if it clashes? Know that clash is not a failure. Yes, you have friction, and usually friction is where innovation begins. So in team management, there are 4 phases that you typically hear about. Oh, they say it's 5 now. I'll just list them. You have the forming stage, you have the storming, stage, you have the normalize, and then the performing. Okay, so once you have that in mind, every time you have to work on a project, every time you are with a team of people, know that clash is not failure. It's an opportunity to, innovate. Okay, so for you is to help the team to translate what you are doing into steps. Help the team see that we are all working towards the goal. Apologies. Okay. Help the team that we're all working towards the goal. All right. And continue to build from there. So let's quickly look at 4 steps. 4-step action framework. 4-step action framework. So the first we have here is name the bias, do not ignore it. Name the bias, do not ignore it. Then build safety first before strategy. Build safety first. Don't just jump into, what you think the response is or what you think it should be. Build safety first. Then set the culture that you want. And of course, transform conflicts into trust. Transform conflict into trust. So remember, leadership is not a script. I cannot give you my script of leadership. It is a conversation. And depending on the environment you find yourself, you will need to, navigate it. Building on ideas, working with other people. It is not a script that should be followed. And do not wait to feel ready. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't say, when I am finally ready, when I'm ready. You start today and keep building up. Okay, so question for you before you ask me questions. How will you show up differently with your team, where you work, even at home? How will you show up differently today? So you can ask me any question you wanted to ask about leadership, and then you rarely hear women answer publicly. So I'm here for it. Thank you so much. Over to you, Francis.
Okay, thank you very, very much for that. It's thank you for sharing with us despite the condition around us, around you. Yeah, thank God there was no interruption throughout. Okay, so we've had a very beautiful session, of course. we are understanding what it means to work with other people, manage team, being a female leader, and also vying for success in your career. So understanding what she started with. Okay, let me not go into details, but I'm sure you heard what she shared, starting from explaining the meaning of the word, nuances, working with your team, defining what is necessary. You don't accept things simply because you can't help it. But sometimes you're not as powerless as you think as a woman. And there is another thing we need to know is that the greatest gift God gave man is choice. Okay, so options. We have choices, whatever you call it. You might call it choice, you might call it options. Whichever way, you still have the power to change what you don't like, right? So in the case of your work, your career path, you have the power to decide your destiny in that working place. So sometimes we are not as helpless as we think. And the reason why we're having these kind of sessions is for us to understand that we always have options. The best thing is if you're confused, ask questions. If you're confused, ask questions. So yes, she asked us a question, right? Which of these is much difficult? She asked question of being authentic as a leader or being authoritative. And quite a number of us responded to that. Being authoritative is difficult. Please tell me what is harder than trying to force a bull or force a donkey to drink water. You're trying to be authoritative, but there is nothing you cannot achieve with someone that is in agreement with you. So being authentic, being understood, and being a companion in the journey of your career. So yeah, so for me, I have a question anyway to our guest today, Theodora. I have a question for you. So there's a situation where a young lady was working in a place, because this topic, gender nuances, is very sensitive and has a lot of tentacles, like, do I say tangents to it? So there are some that might just get to lead us into long conversations, but I want this to remain this short so that I will not spend so much time. But this actually is something that happened recently. This young lady works with a team and kind of have some people that work over her, like supervisors and all that, leaders. And she's very hardworking, she's dedicated, she does all the research, brings all the feedback, bring everything. And once the deal is closed, in fact, yes, once the deal is sure or closed with the client or whoever they're working with, they take it over and say, okay, this guy is going to work on it from now onwards. Thank you very much for your services. Then you can hand over your findings, your reports to this person, and it takes over. And she complained that this thing has been happening over and over again in her workplace. So at this point in time, she's thinking of quitting, and she was complaining of being depressed and all that. So how would you help this young lady in this situation?
Okay. So I would help is that she needs to pick up the pace and, show competence. We already know that in a way you have to prove yourself because of the environment you find yourself. And and some women have it a lot harder. Some women have it a lot harder. So I'll share a personal experience. When I started working right after, graduating from my undergraduate studies, I worked with a man. We're both young then. We're both young then. And then everything that he does, he reports it. I'm not joking. He reports everything. For me, I'm like, can they not see I'm working? That attitude. But they can see that I'm working. And I was really working. Nobody will say I'm not working, but I did not have that sense that you report everything. You report. There's nothing like oversharing in the workplace. Do you know that this guy got salary increase twice before I got first salary increase. By the time, by the time I think by the third year, I worked there for 5 years. By the third year, it was earning about times 2 of what I was earning. I learned my lesson. I had to learn it. Okay. Now, know that you typically have to, until you get to that point where you have positioned yourself as ready to set the culture, you have to do something about it. You have to do something about it. And this is if you know how to do the work. It's not really about does she know the work? No, she knows. I right now I believe she knows how to do the work. Because once you're smart, you can find how to do the work. That one is easy. Now, it's the attitude towards the work now that can be the issue. So for everything that she does, report it and have a trail. Will it work out? I cannot tell. But if she's in the right environment, it will work out. So this is a personal experience that I'm sharing. And I see that, it's helpful. It's helpful. And what I also tell other women is when you go through a hurdle, don't think that everybody should go through it. I see that women, they say, I suffered it now. Everybody should suffer their own. No, we cannot build a better world like that. Even men don't do that. Men don't do that. So I don't know why women continue to do it. They will not say, because once they cross that hurdle, they take my guy. This is how I did it. So if we have more women stepping up to, cross those hurdles and being open enough to help others, our issue with gender is not men. I say it all the time. Most people that have helped me throughout my career are men. So it is not men. Let's not even bring that into the issue. Let's look at what exactly am I doing that can help me, that can move me forward. And when I find that way, can I help another woman? Okay, so just to track back to what she can do, I can't tell if it's too late already. But what I can tell is that as you know how to do the job, now know how to report it. And try not to put emotions, work with your facts and data. What is the fact? What is the data? So you're not singing along. I feel like people or some people are saying, no, I reached 10 people. 9 of them said, 6 of them did this. Okay? Not I feel like, based on the information that we have, these are the things that I believe, will work. Or based on the information that I have, this is what we have seen. This is the result that we should expect. You address things like that, and you will see the difference. I hope I've answered the question. Thank you.
Yes, very well you have. You've answered the question. So that's actually a beautiful one, because sometimes we feel that we are seen. Yes, we are seen, but there are too many things to be seen that they may not remember what you did. Showing up and being intentional about your work. So I also remember a particular situation where a young girl, there was a staff meeting and her boss was going around all around appreciating everybody, and it got to her point where, like, okay, let's say her name was Faith, and she said, Faith, I saw the mail you sent out yesterday. I know I didn't need to see that, but each time you do, you always copy me. I appreciate what you do. It's not like he now said, yeah, I actually know that you guys have to do to show me that you're working, but I'm aware and I appreciate you for that. So sometimes it looks as if you're doing too much. Please do what you have to do, as long as you're not being asked to stop. So it's a dynamic situation out there anyway, but the best thing is be authentic. Then the case of imposter syndrome, What would you have to say? Because it's commonest among women. How do we deal with this now in the workspace, in the creative industry, and even launching a product as an entrepreneur? What happens? Even collecting or going to pitch for grants or offers or investments. Why is it a case among us women more often than not? Thank you. Okay, hi Theodora, can you hear me?
Sorry, I didn't get you. So sorry.
Okay, no problem. I'll retreat. I said, so we are talking about a case of imposter syndrome. So I was like, why is it a situation among women much more or more often than not, where you're launching your products or you're coming up to pitch for your business investments, you're to show up for something in your career, maybe a raise or anything. Why is it that it's more often among women to have imposter syndrome? How do we handle it?
Okay, so imposter syndrome is never going away. Unfortunately, if you are waiting for it to go away before you start, note that it is not going away. Okay. Like the term imposter syndrome, you feel like you are being who you feel like you're not yet. Face that fear. It's a fear. And I don't even think it's just women that have it. Talking with men, you find out that they do, but they feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay, so know that it's not going away. So if you not achieve anything in your life, know that because you told yourself that you think that imposter syndrome will go away, but it's not going away. So feel it and do it anyway. That's what I advise. Okay, I still feel it. I won't lie. And I've not heard anybody who talked about imposter syndrome and is still not feeling it. Okay. So don't let it stop you. Do what you need to do. And shock your brain. I think that's my new term now. Shock your brain. You know how you say that, let me just do this small thing. No, every time you feel like let me do this small thing, increase the pace or increase the thing you want to do. Just shock your brain and you see that your brain will align. All right. So imposter syndrome is not going away. Deal with it and become who you want to be in this life. Because the people who are achieving is mind they have. They're not better than you and I. They just tell themselves that, hey, how we say it, I'll die and I die. And at the end of the day, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So
Yeah.
feel the heartbeat, feel the fear, and do it anyway. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yes, I'll be leaving room for others. Does anyone have any questions? So it doesn't just be me. Okay. So I heard something someone said while we're coming up with our questions, or if someone wants to ask. It said something like, if you want to deal with imposter syndrome, stop acting like one. So so that statement is just
I like
funny.
that.
You're actually acting the way you want to feel because you just stop acting. Do that thing that you feel it's too difficult. The worst case scenario is going to get two kinds of feedback, the positive or the lessons, because there's no negative feedback. It's always lessons or the positive or the feedback that will help you. Everything is about feedback. You learn lessons and improve and get better. So you will never know how strong you are if you don't try. So please do it anyway. Do it anyway. Sometimes you might just need an accountability partner that is there to push you, lead you, pull you around to help you achieve your goal. Sometimes that's why we have collaboration, we have network, we have communities, so that you can let people help you. You can ask for help where necessary. Wherever you feel you can do something, there are some times you just have to lay it bare. This is what I have in mind. This is what I want to do. What do you guys think? And if it's a trusted community that you can share such things with, they'll always encourage. So this case of the lady that was having issue with her workplace was actually in a community I'm part of. And when she shared it, it was just out of the blues. There was nothing about that conversation that was going on, and she drops this, like this been bothering her. She didn't know how to handle it anymore. She dropped it in the community. Thankfully, the number of supports, the number of advice she got that day would help her to make the right decision. At the end of the day, I am certain she wouldn't quit her job, but she has more clarity to move forward. So I'm waiting. Does anyone have a question here? Or maybe want to contribute something before we call it a day? It's already 1 hour. So we can let you have your time. Okay, let me confirm. There is no question coming from YouTube. Okay. Oh, okay. Uchechi has her hand. Oh, please go ahead and ask your question. You can unmute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, it's not a question. It's not a question. It's
Okay,
just like a contribution.
no
So
problem.
like most times it's always very good that we join these classes so that apart from the knowledge, we get words to use to challenge some of the things. Ordinarily, I as a person has always been in a leadership roles. You understand? So most of the things we talked about is actually what we face every day. You understand? But at times, the challenge you always have is getting the right word to defend yourself when you feel that maybe there's something you need to correct. Like example, when she talks about bias, you understand it's always a problem. That there are times you feel that maybe your employee or a customer, the way a customer handles something, it's not the way the person is supposed to handle it. There are so many examples me that I have, you understand. But at times you will be looking for a better word. But when we join these classes, at least it helps us. It helps us with good words. That's we achieve some more knowledge to use to challenge all of those situations. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. So there's this last thing I just want to add before our guest will give us her last tip before we leave. I also want to let us understand the importance of mentorship. Mentorship is very important. So if you're in a twist like this, you have someone that is more experienced than you that will help you. So sometimes you might have someone that is serving as a mentor for you right there in your workplace, an older colleague, or yes, or a supervisor or an executive that understands you as a woman. Then other situation are other experienced women in the circle. You too, as you grow, I remember our speaker making reference to made some statement like this sometime while she was speaking. She talked about you too can become a mentor to others. You set the pace. You can create the path for other women to learn, because if you're able to deal with the nuances, deal with the situation at hand and deal with it appropriately, you create a better pathway for people that are coming behind you, other women. So, or any form of situation that has to be gender-based. So you as a person, as you're growing, just understand that you're becoming a pillar of light for others that will be learning from you, as much as you are also looking up to women that have gone ahead of you to do much better. So when you have this, any situation whatsoever, whether it's internal turmoil or career turmoil, relationship or office interaction, or maybe your team members or you as a leader. So whichever direction is coming from, always have someone that is ahead of you to give you his or her perspective and insight. A trusted person, not someone that is still trying to find his own path. Okay, so then accountability. Accountability doesn't necessarily have to be someone that is ahead of you. It can be someone in your pathway you're navigating, but at least you're holding hands together to navigate the field of growth. Okay, so then finally, we want to hear from you, Theodora. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the detail. Thank you for preparing for us such a wonderful and expository session. So we want to know what's the last word you're dropping with us so we can ruminate on it through the weekend.
Okay, some last words. Some last words. Okay, I'll just say that. Yeah, sorry, ma'am. So I'll just say that leadership is really not about perfection. So you don't say, oh, I mean, I don't think I'm perfect yet. So it's not about perfection. It's not about having all the answers, but asking the right question. It's also not about fitting into an image. It's about stepping into, your own vision. And as women, as leaders, even as founders, we may not always look like leaders, but we can make some difference. We can set culture. We can build the safety. We can build the safety and lead conversation. So those are just some of my last words. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. This is virtually our last session for the month. But if there is something else we're going to share with you. So we have plans to empower as many women as we can. So very soon we're going to be announcing our free training program coming up next week. So put your ears down and pay attention so you don't miss that. The free training program is going to give you skills, digital skills for you to continue to improve in your career and make your work more efficient. So some of them are trainings you're going to be paying for, but we decide to give it out free of charge. So to all those that will be interested, so please, if you're not yet part of the community, go to our website, www.shimegetribe.com. Okay, you will see join our community, click the button, fill the details, and you find yourself at our doorsteps. We are waiting for you with open arms to welcome you to our community to become part of the family and learn from as many other women that are doing exceptionally well in our community. Then, okay, Esther, your hand is up. Yeah, so go ahead and share or ask. Is that a question?
Okay, no, I don't have a question. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to our speaker, Theodora. It was a very, very insightful session. I just want to say that everyone who is on the call, both on YouTube and here on Zoom, I would like you to do something. So just take something that you've learned from today's session and post about it, maybe on your status or on your social media pages, and tag Shimej and tag our speaker as well. So share something that you've taken from this session. Don't just learn and keep it. So that's like one assignment I'm giving to everyone. So something that you've learned or everything you've learned, just put it up on social media and tag us so we can see it, and tag our speaker. I think she can give us her handle on LinkedIn. So whichever social media page that you're on, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, just tag us on there. We are everywhere. Tag us there, put what you've learned, and give us hashtags. So the hashtags are at Shimej Tribe, Upgrade Webinars, Creative Economy. So please use those 3 hashtags and tag us on your social media handles. Let's learn together. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's great. Please do as she has said so far. That will be your own contribution in support and a way of appreciating the effort put together for our speaker to be here and all that she has done. So please do prepare yourself and get back to it. Thankfully, this video is going to be on replay on YouTube, so you can go back to it again and again and empower yourself. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful weekend and a good night rest. Bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Good night. Thank you. Okay.